Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Well, first off, let's talk. I apologize for the blurry video in my last one. I didn't realize it was going to be so blurry, but I hope the point came across. I'm hoping that I'm in focus today. I'm recording this by myself, so hopefully it's working, and I don't have a flip screen, so I can't really tell, but I'm pretty sure that I am in focus. Anyways, I'm here to give you all a studio tour, and I'm so excited because I'm fortunate enough to live in a box but still have a sewing space or sewing community that I can go to, a sewing studio outside of my place that I go to very often to sew. And like many of you all, I also do have a little home sewing space. It's literally a corner. It's literally half of a desk, but I'll show you all a little bit later. So if you're interested in hearing about the studio space that I work at and my little sewing space that I have in my apartment, keep watching this video. If you're familiar with city living, you know that there's really no room for everything. There's no room for me to have my lights, the sewing machine. I don't even have my serger out because there's no space. So I did a lot of research and I found a local sewing studio out here in San Francisco, and I'm so happy I found it because it's become my second home. And I spend a lot of time there actually. That's the reason, because I spend so much time there and it's a lot of fun. So I want to start with that one first. And as you all can see right now, it's pretty big. It's a pretty big space. It's a two-story building actually. There's an upstairs and there's a downstairs. I'm first walking you into the embroidery section. You'll see some embroidery machines. You'll see the cover stitch machine. You'll see the sergers as well. A little story about the cover stitch machine. Because of the sewing community. Okay, let's restart this. Let me bounce back a little bit. I've actually been fortunate enough to use all three of these machines so far. I literally joined the sewing studio in January 18th to be exact, and I had a Groupon for it, so it's even better. And basically I've done a lot of damage in that studio space. Good damage, like sewing damage, like getting a lot of stuff done. But I've used embroidery machines here. They're a little bit old, but they do the job. I've also used the sergers, and they're baby lock sergers, which is something that I'm not familiar with. I have the brother sergers, and so using the baby lock machines, sergers are sergers, but it was just cool to use something other than just brother. And I've also gotten a chance to use the cover stitch machine with my jacket, my biker jacket. So if you have not seen the blog post about that, I'll be sure to link it below. But I use the cover stitch machine a lot, so my top stitching came down a lot, and I'm working on a pair of jeans right now, so I'm pretty sure I'll just be using the cover stitch machine because it's much easier. And I really like the cover stitch machine. If I had space, I would probably, or if I had my own space, I probably would purchase a cover stitch machine, because, and also that specific, the Janome cover stitch machine, because it's a beauty and I really like it. So now I'm showing you all everything else, pretty much, the number of different sewing machines. I personally own a Viking sewing machine, so using the Janome sewing machines was a little bit different. I do think that the sewing machines that I have is better, but you know, I purchased it, so I'm a little bit biased. But the sewing machines here most of them are Janome, some Singers. I've used the Janomes and the Singers. They all do a great job. They all take up to 3 grades of leather. I've done some heavy damage on those machines too. I made a lot of denim this for the month of January and February, so I've done a lot. I've also worked with lace, so they've done some good stuff. The only thing that I've had a problem with those machines is making buttonholes. Definitely use my machine for buttonholes, my own personal machine for buttonholes, because it just wasn't working for me on those machines with the denim. It wasn't a good look. So moving on and showing you all the space, if you've probably already seen the tables. I love the different tables that we have there. There's small tables, short tables, every type of table. I personally like to use the really long cutting table because I just like the height of the table, and also just how much things I could just throw on that table and still have space to create. And I like that. I like the options of having a place to create. or just having space, because again, like if I'll show you all, I feel like I want to show you all two things at the same time, but if I show you all what I'm working with in my apartment, you would understand why I really like this space as well. And also, there's so many different things. What do I want to show you all next? What do I want to show you all next? Oh, I know. I can show you all the Notion section. Now, the Notion section is included within our membership, and it's a great deal because within this Notion section, you have everything. As you can see, there's a bunch of different things that you'll see in this Notion section that I like. I've used a lot of these different things. I've used the zipper from the Notion section, buttons from the Notion section, lace for lingerie. I've used a lot of different things. Anything you can think of, it's there. I never, let me think, since I've been there, have I had to purchase? I've only had to purchase one Notion item, and that item was just temporary adhesive for lingerie. But other than that, everything is there. It's great. There's a variety, different sizes for buttons, different sizes of zippers, different lingerie items. I really like this space as well. Like, I just really love that section of the studio, because anybody can get some notions, and I don't have to make a quick trip to Joann. I don't have to make a quick trip. I don't have to make a quick trip to the fabric outlet. I don't have to make a quick trip to anywhere because everything is there. And also it saves me some coins, which I'm always for. And now let's take a trip upstairs. Upstairs is the industrial sewing area. There's so many different industrial machines there. I'm not familiar with all of them. I've never used an industrial sewing anything a day in my life. But actually, let's go back downstairs really fast. Let's go back downstairs. Downstairs, there's also some industrial machines. We have a very old school industrial singer that's like 19, is older than me, plus like is older than I think even like my grandma and stuff like that. Like it's pretty old, but it still gets the job done. We have many different other industrial sewing machines, but upstairs is the primary area for industrial sewing. So sewing professionals, just different people in general can go up there who are familiar with these types of machines can go up there, especially like if you go to the academy or just any different types of professional like design schools, you're probably familiar with these tools. So definitely you'll be able to use them in the sewing space as well. And next we have the ironing table. Both upstairs and downstairs have a huge ironing table. Luckily for us, we can actually iron on that material. I think it's granite. Don't quote me on that, but it's great. Or sometimes people put there's a sheet downstairs that we use as well to iron. And also in this area we have the classrooms, like I said, and these are again all Janome machines. Another reason why I like sewing at a community sewing space is just because it saves my coins a lot, and it allows me to have the space that I would like to have. And one of the reasons why it saves my coins is because there's different types of feet. Like, I don't own a walking foot because last time I checked, when I didn't have a job, $100 and something I think for a walking foot was not it. And then there's just different types of feet that you can use. I've used the zipper. I actually have not used the walking foot yet, but I definitely plan on using it soon. And I just really like the space overall. Completely, I just love having the space. I like the people that are there. I've learned so much from being in this sewing space. I've learned and also it forces me to challenge myself even more, I think, as well. If I was not sewing at the sewing studio, I probably would, I don't know what I would be doing. I think I would sew, but not as much, not as often. When I lived down in the South Bay, like in the Sunnyvale area, I had my sewing machine, but I never really brought it out. But I just like having the people there, kind of being held accountable for like finishing, because sometimes I have a hard time finishing my projects. So I just like having the people there, or when I get stuck, I can ask somebody for help or assistance. There's some really amazing people that also sew in this studio. So many, one of the ladies, she made her daughter her wedding dress, and the wedding dress was beautiful, and it was just a lot of great things, and I'm really happy that I'm a part of the studio space as well. Now that I've showed you the sewing studio, I want to show you my little home sewing area. It's nothing special, it's nothing fancy, but I like having it because sometimes, most times I sew at the sewing studio, the community sewing studio, but sometimes, you know, you just want to crank out a little project or finish up a little thing in my, I like to just finish up a little thing in my apartment, and so I still have my home sewing area. So this is my sewing area. It's quite tiny, but I still like it. I still like that I get to see my sewing machine every single day when I wake up. But also that I am able to sew in my apartment, and I have a little bit of room for sewing and just for something that I love. And to the top, raising this camera to the top, you will see that I have a slight bit of a fabric stash. Nothing in comparison to you all watching this, but definitely I have a little bit of a fabric stash. I started out, I moved here in December, and I had one piece, and that's the Ankara print that you see. And then there was a little sewing sale, and there was like, it was $1 a yard, so I bought like 10 yards of muslin, because I really want to work on like fitting tight little clothes and dresses and stuff like that. So I bought a lot of muslin. I bought some denim because denim is my life right now. I love denim. And I bought some white corduroy because why not? So I bought like 27 yards of fabric, and I'm enjoying it. And moving down, I have my little my camera, and I also have my iron. I haven't had this iron for very long. I got it for Christmas, but it was purchased at Joann's. It's quite a pricey iron, but if you look down in the description bar below, I'll attach my Ibotta code so you can get an additional 20 to 15% off if you're interested in buying this iron. Or in general, like anytime you shop at Joann, just download this app, use the Joann thing, and redeem about 15 to 20, or even sometimes 25, I believe, percent back in your purchase. So as we're moving down, you'll see that I don't really have an organized pattern stash, but I don't have that many okay, it's grown since I've been here. It has grown since I've been here, but it's just 2 rows, and I'm proud that it's just 2 rows of patterns. I'm probably going to kind of de-stash a few things and give a little bit more things away because I don't have space, and I'm like on a buying spree. So I definitely want to give stuff out rather than just throwing them away or giving them to Goodwill or anything. Or I could give them to Goodwill. But also, I've also told myself that I am going to, what am I going to do? Oh, that I'm going to not buy any patterns for the month of the rest of March and the rest of, and April. So that'll be fun. I was going to go to Joann actually this week for the Simplicity sale, but I was like, you know what, Khira? No. And I didn't, and I'm proud of myself. So now I can show you all my table, or I'm showing you all my table, and this table I got it from Goodwill. It was a really good price. It was $15, and I was so happy when I found this. I share my sewing table or just my table with my computer, and I also have my sewing machine. I've been using, as I've mentioned in many videos, I used Viking sewing machine. I've always used Viking sewing machines from day one. I'm a Viking fan, and I love this machine. It's done no wrong, or it's done some wrong to me, but like, we've overcome those issues. And that's pretty much it. Above, I have my little bit of a vision board, and one of the cool things is that on my vision board, I was like, have Mimi G follow me on Instagram, and she followed me on Instagram, so I was super excited about that. I've also gained 300 followers on Twitter, and I'm super excited about that. I don't use Twitter that often, but I'm just super excited that that happened because I need to tweet more. And in order to tweet, you have to gain people. Like, once you tweet more, people will probably follow you more. So it's just a motivation to keep tweeting. What else? Oh yeah, one of my YouTube goals is to gain 1,000 subscribers. So I'm slowly working towards that. And if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed yet, why not? You know, welcome, welcome, welcome. And I think, oh, and also one of my goals is to be a part of a magazine, whether it's So Deaf, if that comes back, Sewn magazine, Threads magazine, so many different magazines. And I believe that's all of my sewing goals. One thing I forgot to tell you all is that there's a huge, huge, huge library of sewing books out at Sips and Sews, and that's I don't really use that section that much, the library, but I have a few times, especially when I was working on some jeans. The Reader's Digest is like, the owner says like that's one of the better books to read, or like the book, like it's pretty much the holy bible of sewing. And I've used it a few times, and I think I should head over there a little bit more, and I'll probably head over there a little bit more when it comes to fitting. Well, when I start working on like gaining like a very good fit on my clothes. But as of now, we are ending. We're nearing the end of this video. I've been blabbing on for so long, so editing this video is gonna be so much fun. But yeah, that's all for today. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I enjoyed shooting this video and just sharing with you all a little portion of my sewing, well, like just my sewing space, like entering into what my self-care arena, I guess you can say. And I hope you all again enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you all on the next video. See you!